Well, hello, Miss Alviso. I'm John Packle.
Hi, John. I'm Miss A, Miss Alviso.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I already knew you, but hey.
Yes, you were in my first period class.
Yeah. And speaking of that, how did you feel about that class being your first class ever?
Well, it was a little challenging, I think, for me because I felt like you guys knew each other. It was like a family unit. So it was hard to kind of break into that at first because you had Mrs. Rupley and you guys for the first semester, and then the second semester I had to take over, and I felt like I needed to work my way into your family unit, and I think I did eventually. I got comfortable and I got a routine, and we all got to know each other pretty well. Yeah. But it was good. It was challenging though to break into that mold.
Yeah. What would you say is like, how would you, this is kind of the same-ish question, but how would you describe your first day there? Kind of your
Wait.
Your perspective.
You mean back in August?
Yeah, when you first walked into the doors and you saw all of us just...
I was pretty intimidated, honestly. I mean, it's hard to walk into a group of... A lot of you guys were you're teenagers, but there was a lot of males in the room. There was like 3, 4 girls. I think there was maybe 5. It went down to 4. But I was pretty intimidated because I felt like maybe you guys wouldn't see me as a full authority figure, and perhaps you guys never did, but if you did, that's awesome. But more of like a friendly figure. I felt you guys would see me as a friendly figure, not an authority figure. But it was pretty intimidating at first coming into the unknown. And then I got stationed here, so I mean, it was good.
So first off, tell me about yourself, or tell us about yourself.
So, my name is Miss Alviso. I go by Miss A. I was a student teacher at Foothill High School for the academic 2016-2017 year. I'm from Sacramento State. I just graduated. So that's all done and that's shut down. So otherwise, where do you want me to expand? Like just my college experiences?
Just anything, like who are you, you know? Who's Miss Alviso?
An undercover nerd. So, I mean, that's really what I am. I have to I feel like I have 2 faces. Like, you have to have like a public face, but on the other side, like I'm a complete nerd. I love TV shows and I do yoga, but like I can't really bring that. I mean, I think I did bring that to the classroom a little bit, but I feel like I'm hiding like a lot of like who I am, like when you're in the public sphere, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. What would you think is your favorite TV show?
Am I allowed to say?
Yeah.
Okay, it's definitely Game of Thrones.
So, you said something about how you graduated from Sac State a good kind of while ago, right?
Yes, fall of 2015. Sorry, go ahead.
That's good. How was your experiences in college?
It wasn't like, well, so college isn't like the movies where there's like a party all the time on campus. It's not like that. It's a lot of, well, first I went to Sierra College and then I transferred to Sac State. So as a transfer student, you maybe miss all that introduction stuff and orientation stuff you get as a freshman. So as a transfer student going to Sac State, it's usually business. No one really, it's not like high school where you talk to a lot of people. You kind of just go to class, and the textbooks, you have to buy a lot of textbooks. Your class, it's just an hour and 15 minutes, 2 days a week. It's nothing like high school. You don't see the same people over and over again. So my experience was really just, it was more like a business exchange. I had to get my degree and I chose Sacramento State. It's close.
What made you want to become a teacher?
Okay, so this question, a lot of things, but I think what really provoked it was at Sierra College, my first class that I really got excited about was an American history course. So I really got excited like how people lived back in the day, and the fact that what happened in the past can basically explain why things are the way they are today. So I got really excited about that, so I'm like, well, what can I do with, first it was history, but then I had to do social science, because social science major goes into basically you can teach government economics. If you just major in history, you can only teach history, so I had to change to social science. But why I wanted to pursue teaching was basically to share that excitement about history with you guys. I mean, I don't know if you guys got too excited, but I tried to create relevant topics, even though we were going back in the day, like the 1920s. I brought the Great Gatsby in. I remember you guys talking about that, but
that was good. What has been your, like, let's say this, do you have like a favorite teacher that you remember from from college to high school by any chance?
So, without seeming like stereotypical, like I didn't. I had a lot of like, there wasn't one teacher, it was a combination of them. So Mr. McDowell was my sophomore world history teacher, high school. He left my senior year, so that was unfortunate, but I think he influenced, he was a jokester, he was funny, so he made history fun. So I liked history in the sense because of my teachers, as well as in college, I would say Dr. Rose, who's taught Introduction to Historical Skills, which we had to write like a 10-page paper and like study how to research history. So I mean, he was the most influential one, as well as not the teachers, but the subject matter was, I took a lot of women's history courses, which I really liked. So
I'm guessing that's your favorite subject?
It is my favorite subject. Yes, you can't teach it, well, you can teach aspects of it in high school, but there's no like history of women courses in high school, which they should probably do.
They should.
That'd be nice.
How do you feel about teaching at such a young age?
So it's challenging because I felt like I said previously, you guys would see me more as like a friendly figure versus an authority figure, and maybe that did happen a little bit, but I think I got better at being an authority figure over time. But I think that's the most challenging aspect, is like people, how they see you. You're young, so you don't really know anything, maybe.
What part of this job scares you the most?
So a lot of it comes from not having resources or the support to do what you want, to be creative, I guess. So I just hope wherever I end up that I'll have that support and that resource to support my creativity in the classroom and make it engaging for my students.
How do you feel about your first set of classes, and how would you improve on them?
So I helped out in 3 classes. Your guys' class, U.S. History, and then 2 World History courses. How I feel about them, a lot of it was experimentation, because I felt like my CC, Mrs. Rubley, like basically let me have that freedom to do what I want. So I kind of used that to my advantage, and just, I mean, you guys, I mean, you tell me, did you like the Vice videos at the end? Like, I was trying to do a lot of different things all at once. So maybe it wasn't like a structured environment, but it was more like I was trying to figure it out. So I think it went well in that sense, but
you were testing the waters.
I was testing the waters. Can improve on that would just be to have structure and like a routine, a consistent routine, especially with like discipline. Like having high standards like from the beginning and like keeping to that, because you guys will test me.
Yeah. What would you feel is your biggest strengths and biggest weaknesses?
My strengths would be kind of what I said earlier, like bringing relevant topics into a curriculum that might be hard to relate to. So we talked about North Korea. We talked about like the 1950s Korean War, and then bringing like who Kim Jong-un is now. So like relating it to current events. I think that helped you guys like maybe put it in perspective. Okay. But my weakness or need to improve would be like have structure, have that routine. Over time, I guess I'll get it.
Yeah, that's cool. What's the most frustrating thing about teaching in your eyes?
In my experience, student teaching was having 2 classes, so 2 world history classes, and realizing that you could teach them one way, but the students were going to react completely different. So my second period versus my 4th period class, same material, but it's completely different reaction and completely different learners in my classroom, so it's frustrating or challenging in the sense you have to really take into consideration who your students are, not so much your subject matter. I mean that does, but who your learners are. So I think it's a challenge for teachers. You can't take 2 different classes and teach them the same. You can try, but it didn't work.
What would you say is your discipline philosophy? Your philosophy on like teaching?
So I smiled a lot, I guess, which probably shouldn't do so much of. I don't know. I feel like my discipline philosophy this year was to have positive reinforcement. So like very energetic, or not energetic, but more like positive and saying thank you, addressing students by name, especially because I feel like that validates you guys and know that like I know who you are. So also I hope I created engaging lessons where the discipline would disappear, in the sense I wouldn't have to like get on you guys if the lesson was engaging. So my philosophy is like, it's positive. I don't want to create a negative environment.
Positivity. What were you like as a student?
Okay, so
Like a high school student.
okay, high school, it's been a long time, 7 years. So I was pretty average in the sense I didn't speak out as much as I would now. Like when I went through college, you have to speak more in class. Pretty quiet. When I went to college, you really had to get involved, and I became very disciplined. I refused to procrastinate because, yeah, I felt very uncomfortable winging a paper last minute because I knew that it just wouldn't work. A lot of people did that and they like got A's on their papers, but it was so uncomfortable to me, so I just became very disciplined. And
This is the last question. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
okay, so I'll be 34, almost 35. Hopefully, in between that time period, I would like to hopefully teach English abroad. So there's programs that allow you to do that, and you can take a year and go teach in Sweden, or not so much Norway, that would be cool, but Sweden, the Netherlands, Italy. There's tons of stuff you can do. I would like to do that if I can, and then also possibly get a master's degree, which doesn't sound too appealing right now coming off of like a rigorous program, but maybe teach at a community college in the future.
I think you could do it.
What is one place you want to teach at?
Honestly, I'd love to teach in New Zealand. So, no, it's like a 13-hour flight, but like they speak English. So I mean, being a social science person, I'd have to maybe spin it. I don't know how I'd teach American history, or maybe I'll teach world history, or get certified in English to teach English. But that's where I would love to go, New Zealand.
That's cool. That's cool. So, I think the interview's done now.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Ms. Alviso, for
Thanks for having me.
Interview us. Yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
You're awesome too.